podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Welcome to another Finely Edged production for the Premier League Cricket Club. Connecting players and coaches, clubs and leagues, volunteers and supporters alike, you're in the right place for the best of the 33 ECB Premier Leagues and the 20 NCCA counties, bringing you the stories, the stats and the standout performances that make this game great. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to both our Premier League and NCCA shows so you don't miss any episodes. Now, shall we get stuck in? So welcome everybody to the Overthrow at the Premier League Cricket Club, and once again we're talking to someone in and around cricket but not having to talk stats, although in this case we will talk some stats for a very obvious reason. Joining me today is an old friend of ours now, Mr. Jake Burton, the founder and top man basically of Runs4Research. How are we doing, Jake?
Yeah, very well, Ian. Thanks for having me on again. It's been a while.
It does, mate. It does. It's great to get you back. And we're recording this now in that run up to the big day, basically, isn't it? Is that the launch day on 1st of February?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sign-ups for Runs4Research 2026, which is our 6th season, go live 10 a.m. on Sunday, so Sunday the 1st of February.
Does that mean that 10 a.m. Sunday morning you will be sat there with a cup of coffee in front of your laptop watching things go bing, bing, bing?
Yeah, very much, yeah. I shall put the form live at 10 a.m. and probably I'll put my phone down for an hour or go and do something else and not sit there and watch it for a period because, yeah, you get after 5 minutes and nobody's signed up yet, you start to worry. But then by the end of the hour, maybe it's the numbers are quite impressive.
Yeah, I mean, the temptation to sit there is very big. It's a bit like when we put our transfers on a Tuesday. I can sit here at 8 p.m. every Tuesday night and I can just watch people going onto the website, which is fascinating. But actually, we can become quite sad by these things, can't we?
Yeah. As I say, I'm sure if we do talk about the stats, I have the similar problem when our update bot is running on a Tuesday evening and I'm watching the runs and wickets fall in that way.
Absolutely. Hey, let's tell everyone about Runs4Research just in case, because you never know. There might be people who still never heard of it, mate.
Yeah, so Runs4Research was founded in 2021 after the death of my grandfather. At the end of his life, he suffered a little bit with Alzheimer's. So kind of at the end of that period, we decided that we wanted to kind of come up with an initiative to raise a bit of money. He was an avid cricket fan, so we thought we'd try and combine the two together. So that's where Runs4Research came about. So for those that don't know, you sign up at the start of the season to make a donation to Alzheimer's Research at the end of the season based on your performances. So that's 5p for every run that you score, 50p for every wicket you take. And that's open to all levels of cricket. So it could be Premier League cricket, it could be club cricket, it could be friendly cricket, it could be junior age group cricket, and it's all counted. Every run is worth the same, every wicket is worth the same. We do all of the data tracking. So for every game that you play, you don't need to provide us with this data on a weekly basis. We collate it all. And then you just see your donation kind of creep up throughout the season. And over the 5 years that we've been running, we've raised more than £66,000 for Alzheimer's Research UK. And
it's grown almost exponentially for the first 2 or 3 years. I'm going to say it because I'm bloody annoyed at this. It's plateaued the last year or two, mate. Why is it between £15,000 and £16,000? Do we just need more people to sign up and more people to pay their dues?
Yes, I think that's exactly it. I think we did grow. We went from 250 to more than 500 in year 2 to nearly 900 in year 3. And then we've gradually drifted off a little bit down to kind of the 700 mark the last 2 seasons. But even though the numbers of participants have dropped, actually the amount raised for the charity has kind of stayed at pretty much 15,000, which is still a remarkable amount. But as I say, it does feel as if we've still got lots of untapped potential with a number of people that are playing cricket just in the UK. That there are a lot of people that could get involved in the cause and get us to record years, maybe 1,000 players, maybe 20,000 pound or even more, depending on what we can get involved.
Absolutely. Well, my challenge to our listeners and our people who watch this and people who read on our website, the 7,500 players played Premier League cricket alone last season. Now, forgive me, some played 1 or 2 games, but there was almost 4,000 who played 10 games or more in Premier League cricket alone. Now, if you times that from the amount of clubs and around the country, there's an estimated between 40 and 60,000 players playing every weekend, I think, around the country, isn't there? Yeah,
and I think from the last couple of years, we do the calculations, and the average donation from a player involved in Runs4Research is only about £20. So it's not as if we're asking for large sums of money. There are players that have really good seasons. They score 1,500 runs. They might take 20 or 30 wickets, or in some instances more wickets and less runs. And their donations might be north of £70, £80. But on average, the average player is probably donating £20. And if you extrapolate that up on the numbers that you just said, that gets you to a solid base before you even start. So there is lots of potential there.
I have seen on the list one of the leading ones from last year, Mr. John Oswell, Premier League NCCA player, 1,900 runs, £97 donated from Mr. Oswell. You know, if Oswell could do that up in the northeast, and let's be honest, runs come really tough up there compared to, let's pick a county, Lincolnshire, East Anglia, some of these harder tracks. There's plenty of runs out there that actually people could spend £20 to £40 on just supporting a great cause.
Exactly. Although John does make batting look very easy. I haven't watched him. He
only took 2 wickets. Yeah, I mean that's.
But yeah, absolutely. As I say, I think it's a really simple concept for players to understand. Unfortunately, Alzheimer's Research is a charity that has affected most people in some way or another, and therefore, kind of the motivations should be there. And then hopefully that then transpires to people wanting to get involved. And the way I always look at it at the end of the year is if somebody says, "Can you sponsor me to run a marathon?" You might give them £20. With this, you might end up giving somebody £19.95, but that £19.95 is based on runs and wickets that you scored during your season. That feels a little bit more personal to you. You're still supporting the same cause, and that's not taking anything away from people running the marathons. But it's just a slightly different way of looking at it in my eyes.
Absolutely. So go on then. Who are the headline makers? Which clubs can you point out around the country where you can go, they've just been incredible with their support from start to finish?
So I think most people would look at it and go, well, it's going to be people local to yourself, your own club. And they've always been really strong supporters. They ultimately got us over the line in those early days by kind of reassuring me that this was a good idea. But actually, the clubs that give me most satisfaction are those clubs around the country that have no personal connection to me. The leaders over the last 4 years, they weren't involved in year 1, but since year 2, were Salisbury Athletic in Hampshire. They've hosted us a couple of times for the Runs4Research 11, but they have 5 Saturday teams, and they're consistently getting more than 30 players involved every year. So obviously their totals are. They're donating more than £500 a year, probably at minimum, towards the cause. And without those sort of clubs, the guys down there are really helpful in spreading the word as well. But then, as I say, other clubs up and around the country getting between 5 and 10 players. Often the clubs that fall into this category are those that we end up going to visit when we host the Runs4Research 11 games, because again they're long-term supporters. Who want to I suppose for us to go and meet, put names to faces to names ultimately.
And the nice thing, of course, is we can now, if people aren't aware of this, Salisbury Athletic are also now a Premier League club.
They are indeed.
They've been promoted. They're a Southern Premier League club going forward in 2026. Very active with their social media. Very good-looking club the way they run themselves. So to know that you've got a club as large as that backing you, they're the type of clubs that you'd ideally want. But also the village clubs with just one team, it doesn't really matter, does it? No,
exactly. And I kind of always like to look at these clubs when they're playing on a Saturday to see how many players they can get in 111 that are Runs4Research involved.
That's a good one.
Because again, if they are, yes, we'll play the Runs4Research games, and the opponent clubs will often try and fill their 11 with Runs4Research players. And obviously when we go to Salisbury, that becomes quite simple when you've got 5 teams to pick from. But actually, it's quite nice to look at games around the country where you've got 2 supporting clubs, and then maybe got 5 or 6 players in each team knowing that the majority of the runs and wickets taken are going to fall to Runs4Research players. And that's quite satisfying.
Yeah, really satisfying when you see big numbers coming in on that day alone. It's everyone's putting their best Runs4Research hat on and doing what they can to raise those funds.
Exactly, and they don't need to think about that to a certain extent. They're going out there and playing the game of cricket as they were. It's just an added incentive for the fact that they have scored those runs. They're going to be supporting a good cause at the end of the season.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the keys for me, that at the end of the day, what you're not asking anyone to do is anything different. It's just do what you do, play your cricket on a Saturday, and as a contribution of what you actually, of what you actually do, pay you guys at the end of the season. Exactly that.
And I think we find it seems to go one of two ways, and you see the comments on the donations pages. Either they have a really, really good year because they feel as if that those runs and wickets do mean a little bit more, or sometimes, unfortunately, it goes the other way. And actually, the first year they get involved in the cause, they have an absolute shocker, and then they feel bad for it because they've not contributed as much, and they end up topping us up a little bit. But ultimately, it's, as you say, they're not doing anything different.
Absolutely. But you know what? If they have a shocker, so what? They can still top up, as you say. They can pay what they want. And correct me if I'm wrong, the Just Giving page that you use opens up somewhere during the season as well. So actually, if people want to start to contribute rather than wait until the end of the season, they can do that as well. Exactly.
I think a personal failure of mine a little bit has not been able to communicate that kind of as well as I'd have liked. The information has always been available on our website. But actually people do the sign up, they get a confirmation email, and then they sometimes don't hear from us directly until the season finishes. But that's going to change in 2026. They're going to start to get more regular emails to do exactly as you say. They'll get an update with the Just Giving page link, and then they can contribute kind of as they go through the season. So therefore that £100 at the end of the season based on runs and wickets probably doesn't feel so bad when you're spreading it across 6 months. So hopefully that could lead to a little bit less bad debt to a certain extent.
Yeah, and I'm thinking aloud as an individual. If you're a player then who wants to sign up and you don't want to spend that money at the end of the season, maybe what you do is you put £10 a month in. Yeah. And okay, if you don't get to that 50 or 60 quid of £10 a month, you're not getting a refund, by the way, but at least you've already done it at £10 a month rather than to pay that at the end of the season.
Exactly that. I think that would be the ideal circumstance. As I say, the donation page sits open from the 1st of January to somewhere in December when we close it. It's always available for contributions for players throughout the season to do exactly that.
Absolutely. Now, we can't not talk to you without asking the question, have you already been in touch with your number one supporter in the professional game, Mr. Sam Billings, to come and support you once again? Because bear in mind, he scored runs in that many bloody countries last year. Yeah, it adds up, doesn't it?
Exactly. I haven't had a conversation with Sam as of yet. For those that don't know the story, because I think it's quite a fun one. So it goes right back to year one originally, when one of my mates made a comment to say that when I pitched the idea to them that Sam was quite active on social media and might be worth a message. At that stage, we were a very, very new initiative, and it probably didn't feel like we'd got enough push power for that yet. And then April 2025, he was doing a talk at an accountancy conference, ironically run by Sage, as obviously big partners of the 100. And my boss actually threw me under the bus a little bit and said, well, why don't you speak to Sam about Runs4Research? A little bit reluctant because it's not really me to put myself out there and tell people what we're doing in that environment, certainly. And we took some details away, spoke to a colleague, and within 24 hours we got a video from Sam announcing that he's signed up and actually committing to 50p per run rather than the standard 5p. So as you say, with a successful season, I think he would probably admit he didn't have the greatest season with the bat, but still with a successful season, he scored a good chunk of runs and made a sizable contribution at the end of the season to kind of bring home our total.
Yeah, and the fact that he put it up to 50 pence a run, he didn't need to do that. I mean, any pros who are listening who want to do that, by all means, go ahead. But actually, if we could get 5, 10, 15, 20, let's pick a number, 18 pros maybe, one per county, that'd be quite a nice start, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's always been a goal to try and get it into the pro game. We've skirted with it, and ironically, we've skirted with a few players that have subsequently become pros. In the early years, we had Matty Hurst up in the north before he was kind of well involved in the program. I think he was with us the first year he broke into the Lancashire team, and a few others across the men's and women's game that have kind of become pros. But as I say, it would be nice to see a few of the county pros getting involved, and hopefully we can get there just with getting in front of the right people.
Yeah, and that's all it is. And my message to anybody who's watching or listening to this or reading about it once again is, cricket's a small community at the end of the day. We all know someone. If they're not a pro themselves, we know someone who knows a pro. So why not just shout it out and say, guys, get involved. Just say Sam Billings did it. Straight away, I hate to say it, but make them feel guilty. Sam Billings did it in the first place. He was ahead of the curve when it comes to this one, and hopefully he'll sign up again this year. If not, we'll be looking for maybe get the Curran brothers, get something like that. I'm sure Sam knows those two, funnily enough. Get some more on board. And 67,000 in 5-6 years. There's obviously a target, and we know what that target is right now. There's a six-figure number, isn't there, to get there?
Yep, there is.
33,000 years, probably a bit of a stretch, maybe in 2026.
Yeah.
But you want to make sure that by the end of next season, at the least, you want to get there. But the quicker you get there, the better.
Exactly. A couple of £20,000 years, and we're there. And I think that's certainly achievable with what we can do. Again, we always have our seasons are always boosted by standalone contributions, and I know we've got one that's coming in this year that's really boosted our total already. But again, from clubs that host our games and want to give us something that a little bit extra because they might be benefiting from us playing a game there, so they give us a little bit back. Say other standalone individuals that maybe don't play but want to contribute something to the cause. So the numbers are achievable. £33,000 across 2 seasons should be quite straightforward, all being well. But I always try to not think of the landmarks because as we said off recording, unfortunately, and I don't like to be negative about it, there are a chunk of donations that don't make it into our Just Giving page. Through players that get involved and don't follow through. And actually the volume of turning that 66,000 probably gets you to somewhere around about the £80,000 mark. But you just have to look back and go, actually, it is 66,000. We've raised a ridiculous sum of money for Alzheimer's Research through something as simple as club cricket.
Yeah, I mean, let's treat those non-payers as almost, it's a bit like getting out. You can't help it. It's one of those things that happens. Let's celebrate the runs that have been scored and the wickets that have taken at the end of the day, isn't it? Definitely so. Exactly. I think the other message I put out there to people, and I think it's a really important one, is there's no age limit on this either. If you've got juniors at your club who have got maybe parents, grandparents, great-grandparents who've been touched by Alzheimer's. As Jake knows, I've been touched by it myself, and it's one of the reasons I'm passionate about it. Why not get them to raise money as well? It's all possible. At the end of the day, anyone who's on play cricket makes life easier for Jake and the boys to pull all this information together. But if they're not on play cricket, you can still do it as well. Yeah,
exactly. I think the junior players is a big thing because they play so much cricket. I think that's the only slight negative with the junior players is that quite often they play so much cricket that if the parent doesn't know what's going on, that becomes a difficult conversation. But hopefully they've had a conversation, as you said, they've talked about granddad or grandma that suffered with Alzheimer's, and therefore they want to do some support for it. The parent buys into it as well, and we've got a really good player donating there.
I think the final message from me, therefore, is just look at yourselves, guys. Raise a few quid for a charity that is, there's just never going to be enough money for it, to be frank. Watching people who go through this sort of situation and these issues, as I have done myself, Jake's done. I've got my good friend down south, Joe, who suffers with his father and his dementia down there as well. This is as good a cause as you can get to raise money by just doing what you do. Maybe take it a stage further. Bang on your committee at your club's door and say, why don't we have a charity for the year? And that's the one that does it. You might not get everyone signing up, but we all ask for ball sponsors. We're all asking for money all the time. But this is just something that's nice to do as well, isn't it, Jake?
Exactly. I think the difference is, compared to a club sponsor, is that this is actually a charity thing. And as much as I want to get it into clubs, because if you get it into clubs, you build competition. You say, this person's got the highest donation in the club. This is ultimately a personal thing. But hopefully the drive from a personal perspective can then persuade other players to get involved and join the cause. Absolutely.
Well, I'm very pleased to say that this year, once again, we will be backing Runs4Research as one of our 2 charities that will be backing this year. People already know, because they might have seen some bits and pieces, that we're doing some work with Opening Up Cricket and our friend Mark up at Sefton, the mental health charity. But from a day-to-day, week-to-week basis during the season, we'll be backing Runs4Research, and it'll be for the number 1 scorer in the Premier League cricket nationally and the number 1 wicket taker. Now, based upon last year, just to give you a heads up on this one for you, if Priyanshu Kanduri scores 1,671 runs, that's 83 quid we owe you. And if Khalid Usman takes another 72 wickets, that's another 36 quid we owe you. But what we're also going to add to that this year, and this is what nobody has ever seen us do before, each of the winners of the Premier League national run scoring and bowling wickets this year will also win an honours cap, which will be brought to them by our friends at Gentlemen and Players, who are partners on these type of things. So we'll pay the dues, we'll pay the charity donations to Runs4Research. Gentlemen and Players will give them an honours cap to say, you are the single best run scorer in Premier League cricket or wicket taker. We can't do more than that, can we, Jake?
No, it's a great gesture, Ian. I don't know if you and the guys have always supported us since the early days. So yeah, that will be a real incentive, hopefully, for players to get involved, but also for their own performances in driving their own clubs forward.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to be keeping in touch with Jake over the coming weeks when all of these people start signing up. I want to know what clubs are in, and I will be, Jake might not call people out. I will call leagues out, and I will call clubs out in the Premier League to say, if we can get 1 per Premier League, it'd be nice to get 1 per club signing up. But if we could get 1 or 2 per Premier League, so there's always someone on that leaderboard. Let's see how many Premier League players we get. And if John Oswell's up there again, I'm pretty sure John will probably sign up. There's another 1,900. Let's get some NCCA players. And if you do know a pro, text him, WhatsApp him, send him an email. If you know someone at any county ground, text him, WhatsApp him. Let's get him involved with Runs4Research this year, Jake.
Yeah, absolutely. And to say, if anybody needs anything from any of those clubs to kind of help drive that cause forward, explain what it is. So I'm more than happy to assist with that, with selling it. We can provide marketing material. We've got a little bit more way of that this year as well. But yeah, anything to kind of allow us to drive it forward and get it in front of the right people in clubs and counties and further afield.
Absolutely. And the final one, have you got some Runs4Research games already planned for this season?
So, yes. So earlier on this week, on the basis that we're recording on Monday, there will be announcement of the first game, which unsurprisingly to those that follow us for the last few years will be at a Premier League ground in Burley Park in July, which again probably was very predictable because it's a long-standing kind of commitment that we've hopefully made with those guys. But then we're in talks with some other clubs potentially as well. We always have a lot of kind of long-term supporting clubs that are always happy for us to keep coming back year on year. But we always do like to try and kind of mix it up to give others a chance. So again, if there are any clubs that have been involved with us that want to get in touch to potentially host a game, then more than happy to talk to them about that as well.
Brilliant. If you need any more details, Jake, where can people find them?
So we're on Instagram, X, and then our website, runs4research.org.uk.
Doesn't get any simpler, does it? If you're not sure, just drop us a message. We've got all the details, obviously. Anybody who knows me, drop a text. If you've just want to email us, DM Runs4Research directly. Jake will come back to you really quick. He's far too bloody efficient, to be frank. You can tell it's the accountant in him, can't you? Get back to people as quick as possible.
Yeah, that's it.
Most definitely. Hey, great to join you again, Jake, and here's to a record-breaking year, fingers crossed, this year.
Yeah, thanks, Ian.
All the best, mate.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining us at the Premier League Cricket Club. We'll be back soon with more from the world of Premier League and NCCA cricket. But in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review and follow us wherever you get your socials. Or maybe check out our website, premierleaguecricket.co.uk, to stay updated. Until next time, have a good one.